across live now to Paris, where French President Emmanuel Macron is addressing the nation on the challenges facing Europe and the world. Let's listen in.
Becoming more brutal, and the terrorist threat is still ongoing. Our prosperity and our security is uncertain. We have to say it. We are entering a new era. The war in Ukraine has started since 3 years ago, and we have decided since day one to support Ukraine and to sanction Russia. And it was the right thing to do, because it's not only the Ukrainians that are fighting for their freedom, but it's also our security that is at stake. If a country can invade their neighbors without any impunity, then we cannot be certain of anything, and it will be the law of the jungle. And also, peace cannot be established or achieved in our continent, and this is what the history has showed us and taught us. The Russian threat is here and is affecting several European countries. It affects us. The Ukraine-Russia conflict has become an international and global conflict, and also Russia has entered Iranian weapons on our European soils. Putin's Russia is violating our borders and also manipulating the elections in Romania and different countries, and also trying to block the functioning of several systems. Russia is trying also to manipulate our opinions by spreading false information and testing our limits. It's doing it on air, water, seas, and behind our different screens. This does not have any limits or borders. Russia continues to rearm itself and also spending more than 40% of its GDP for armament. By 2030, it predicts to increase its armament and also to have more military weapons, more than 3,000 tanks, among others. Who could believe, given this context, that Russia will stop only at Ukraine? Russia has become, as I am talking to you now, has become a threat for France and for Europe. I regret saying this. And I'm convinced that on the long run, peace will be achieved on our continent, and Russia will become again a peaceful country. But the current situation is as I am describing it. Facing those different threats, if we stay just watching, will be craziness. We have to make decisions for Ukraine, for the security of the French people, and for Europe. For Ukraine, first of all the initiatives for peace are on the right track, and I would like to also salute them tonight. And we have to continue to support the Ukrainians until they can negotiate a solid peace with Russians for themselves and for us all. That's why the way and the path to peace cannot be through abandoning Ukraine. We cannot achieve peace at any price or under the dictatorship of Russia. It cannot be by the capitulation of or capitulating Ukraine. It cannot be translated by a fragile ceasefire, because we have learned from the past. We cannot forget that Russia has started invading Ukraine since 2014, and we have negotiated a ceasefire back then. And Russia, the same Russia, did not respect this ceasefire, and we were not able to maintain the balances. Today, we cannot believe Russia and Ukraine has the right to peace and security for itself, and it's in the interest also of France and also the European continent. That's why we are working with our British friends, Germans, and many other European countries. That's why you have seen me during the last weeks convening meetings here at the Elysee or in different European countries in order to strengthen in all the existing agreements for the interest of Ukraine. Once the peace is signed, and we need to make sure that Ukraine will not be invaded again by Russia. We need to prepare this. We need to prepare the Ukrainian army, and also by providing some European soldiers. It doesn't mean that they will fight, but they will be there once the peace is signed to make sure that this peace agreement is respected. As of next week, we will convene here in Paris all the commanders and all the countries who would like to assume responsibility in this regard. This will be a plan for a solid, sustainable, and verifiable peace. We have prepared this agreement with the Ukrainians, as well as many other European partners. And I've defended this agreement in Europe and also in the United States. I would like to see the United States continuing to support us. However, we need to get ready and to be prepared if this will not be the case. The peace, whether achieved in Ukraine quickly or not, the European countries need to take into consideration the Russian threat that I just described. We need to be able to fight and also to be prepared for any potential threat or invasion in the future. We need to be prepared, and we need to know what is our defense capacities, and this is for peace. And that's why we renew our commitment to the NATO and also to the United States. But we need to do more. We need to reinforce and strengthen our independence in terms of defense. The future of Europe should not be decided in Moscow or in Washington. The threat is going back to the east, and all the peace that we've seen since the fall of the Berlin Wall are now years that are behind us. All the governments, European governments have met, and we will together take decisive steps. Many decisions will be made, and those are decisions that France has been proposing in order to increase military defense without taking this into their deficit. We will also make decisions to buy and also to manufacture weapons on the European soil, and also to have innovative weapons and military equipment. I've called and urged all the governments to be ready and also to be able to rearm all our regions. And I will also meet with all the ministers and competent authorities in order to talk with the private actors in this sector as well. This is our reality today. This means that European countries should be ready to defend themselves and also to produce together all the equipment that they need on their soils, on their lands, and also to be able to reduce their dependence from the rest of the world. And this is a good thing. Germany, Denmark, and many other partners and European countries have announced that they will spend more for their defense. As we are starting this action, France has a particular statute. We have the most efficient army in Europe, and thanks to the choices made by our predecessor and leaders since the end of World War II, we have nuclear weapons, and this protects us more. And we did not wait for the Ukraine invasion in order to take stock of the concerning situation and global situation. And I've decided with laws that have been passed in the parliament, we have been able to rearm our country. And given the ongoing threats and the situation that I just described, we will have to make new budget decisions, and also we have to increase some spendings that have become indispensable. I've called the Parliament to work as soon as possible to provide investments. It will be private and public funds without increasing taxes. For this, we will have to introduce reforms and to make decisions and to be brave. Our nuclear weapons do protect us. It is sovereign and French, 100% French, and since 1964 has always played a role in maintaining peace and security in Europe. But as the future German Chancellor said, we would like to open the discussion about this nuclear capacity with our European partners. The decision will remain between the hands of the President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief. We want to be more independent, and we have to also have a clear military plan, but also an economic plan. The technological and economic independence are also as important. However, we need also to prepare ourselves. given that the United States would like to increase the tariffs on the European products as they announced for Canada and Mexico. This decision that we cannot understand will have consequences on our economy, but it will not remain without a response from our side. As we are preparing our response together with our European partners, we will continue, as we said as we started since 15 days ago, to try to stop. And we would like to we hope that we will be able to convince the President of the United States not to do so. These times are demanding new decisions to be made regarding the research, the industries, and all our public policies. We cannot have the same post-war debates. That's why I asked the Prime Minister and his government, and I urge all the political parties and powers and industries to also propose new texts. And the solutions of tomorrow cannot be done with the habits of yesterday. Dear citizens, given the ongoing circumstances, we should not surrender to any excess. We should not, or France should also follow one track, which is its willingness for peace and freedom, which are part of the values of France. This is the best for our security, and this is what we believe in for the defense of democracy. It is a certain idea of the reality of the truth, and also for the freedom and the respect, the value of the freedom of speech and not the return to the speeches of hate. Those are our values, and this is what is at stake. Europe enjoys economic strength and the talents in order to meet the challenges of this new era. And we have the means compared to Russia and to the United States, and we could do so. We could meet all those challenges if we work together as a Europe, one Europe. That's why your country needs you and needs your willingness and your commitment. The budget is one thing, but it will never change the willingness of a nation. Our generation will not benefit from the peace. It is our commitment for the future generations in order to benefit from our decisions of today, and we will face all the challenges together. Long live the Republic, long live France.